Hey, I'm Kerry here. I'm down in Florida. We're on a 2-week vacation that we've been doing this for, I guess, 33 years now. We've come to the beach and we come down to the panhandle of Florida, which is about 5 hours south of Birmingham. And we started it actually shortly after we moved to Birmingham. Virgil and Pauline, Nita's parents, came for Thanksgiving. And after one Thanksgiving, we realized that wasn't going to work because Pauline and Nita couldn't work in the same kitchen. So we decided, and that it would be nice to go to the beach. So for 35 years, we have come to the beach. We started used to two-bedroom condos. We had 2 kids at the time. Now we're up to where we rent houses. We used to do it up until this year. We used to do it just the week of Thanksgiving. Now we do it, or this time we did it for a full 2 weeks, and I'm glad we did. Only been here one day, but it's been refreshing. I even took a nap this afternoon. But what I want to talk to you about, and what Tuesday's video is going to be about, is the lesson I learned down here relative to recognizing the value of assets. As I said, we came down here in, I believe it was 1987, and where we're staying was basically a deserted beach. There was very little activity. The road was barely paved. You could buy a cinder block home on a probably 1/3 acre of a lot, probably a 1/2 acre actually, because you had the depth from the Gulf all the way to the street, for probably about $30,000. And at the time, I didn't have the $30,000 or really the inclination to do it because, again, there was always the fear of the hurricane. The hurricane could wipe you out and in a matter of minutes. And the anxiety that went along with it was just not something. So over the years, it developed. It developed into communities. You may be aware of and it's called the Emerald Coast. The Wall Street Journal did a article about a week ago. I believe it was on Saturday a week ago. That would have made it probably, the 8th of November, and how it gave some background on this area. So what transpired was, it's beautiful, probably the most beautiful beaches I have ever seen. We call it sugar sand. It's white. The Gulf of Mexico is usually beautiful blue with the blue skies. It's just a dream world. So anyway, that lot that I could have bought for $30,000 with a house on it, that lot now at a minimum, not anywhere near the upscale communities, would go for $3 million. And if that house was still on it, you'd tear it down and you'd probably build a 4-story castle, and it would be worth $10 million. Now, my point is, I didn't recognize the value of the asset. I didn't recognize that it was going to be an appreciating asset that many people would want, and I would be one of them. So I missed that. But I learned from it that that's what you have to do. And in all investing, is you're looking for that undervalued asset. Now, whether it's some of you, like Workhorse, you believe it's undervalued because they haven't gotten the contract yet. Well, that's not a sure thing. Some of you, like Nikola, because you believe they are going to have a truck that challenges Tesla's or any of the others, but you don't know that. You don't know that. That's a bet, and I don't do bets. I look at investments and say, I want a sure thing. And I want to determine the sure thing based on good information and logic. And the one here was so simple because and yet it didn't happen. The panhandle of Florida is just south of Atlanta, Birmingham, Nashville, Little Rock, Arkansas. The beaches in Mississippi and Louisiana are just not that nice. Even all the way over into Texas, they don't have beautiful beaches like we do here. So there is a huge population that gravitates here. I met some people today from New York City. I met some people from North Carolina who own a home down here. So the ability to look at an asset and say that has some potential and it's undervalued. Now, so I'm going to walk you through that on Tuesday, and I want you to learn from it. Then I want you to take that same logic and apply it to what's going to happen in our future. And then when I say in our future, I mean in the next 12 months. I've referred to the pandemic as World War III. I think it has devastated our world, comparable in some regards economically to World War II. And I've alluded to, if you read the book, The Accidental Superpower, the first chapter is about the meeting in Brecon Woods in New Jersey, where the Allies came together in July of 1945 and said, how are we going to make sure that this never happens again? Well, I believe, and they've already scheduled it, and they're calling it the reset, and it will be probably in February or March in Davos, Switzerland, and the leaders of the world will come together and come to a conclusion as to what do we have to do to make sure this never happens again. And it's obvious. It's going to be relative to bringing technology up to warp speed within the medical field. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that your telephone, your smartphone, is going to become your doctor. The technology is there. That means that there's going to be a tremendous amount of data, your medical data, your medical records, your daily analysis of your body that's going to have to be pushed into the cloud. And as I did in a video earlier I guess it was this weekend, explained what Amazon Web Services is. It's a huge facility of computers that gathers data and then analyzes it and sorts it and then feeds it back to you. And for the most part, it has been feeding it back to you in the form of advertising. Well, it's going to feed it back to you in the future relative to your medical condition. And I like to use the analogy of the automobile. An automobile, when I bought my first automobile, was a 56 Ford. So I guess it was in 1960. That car had a life expectancy of somewhere between 30 and 50,000 miles. But now I own a BMW, and it has a life expectancy of somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 to 200,000. I was talking to Trent, my son, yesterday. He lives down here, and he drives a high-powered Mercedes, and he's got 150,000 miles on it. He's getting a little worried about it because it might come to the end of its life expectancy, but it's a very high-powered car, so he's got other issues to deal with in there. But that's the same thing that's going to happen to your body because, again, my BMW has 145 sensors on it. And what's that mean? It means that anytime anything even seems wrong, possibly in the car, I get notified on my dashboard. And it tells me to take the car to the shop, and they plug it into a computer, and the computer reads and tells them exactly what's about to happen, and thus they stop anything bad from happening and extend the life of the car from, as I said, 50,000 to 150,000. That's the same thing that's going to happen to your body. So we need to recognize, in light of that Amazon Web Services is an undervalued asset. Microsoft has a similar facility. It's an undervalued asset, as is Google, as is Apple. And so when you see these people do all this yakking about the overvalued price of the big six, they aren't considering what's going to happen in the next 12 months because they don't know about it. They don't connect the dots. They don't recognize that Amazon's not going to be serving you by telling you what the next thing you're going to buy on Amazon is, or Apple or Facebook or Google's not going to be serving you by telling you or advertising to you various products that you might be interested in. They're going to be feeding you information about your life and your lifespan and how you can live longer and how you can live healthier and how you can avoid a pandemic. So that has intrinsic value that they haven't put into the asset. Now, let's add to that the situation that's going to happen in transportation and 5G. The Internet of Things is again going to throw tremendous data into those facilities that is going to come back to you. The easiest one to understand is the autopilot cars, that autonomous automobiles will be moving down the highway, talking to each other, and feeding data back and forth so that you don't get in a wreck. Well, that data, the processing of it, is going to become a commodity, and that commodity is going to carry a price. And the price on one side is going to be dollars, but on the other side is going to be your life. Because 90% of all auto accidents today occur from driver error. Well, if you take the driver error out of it, you're going to live longer. So between the medical change that's going to happen and the automobile change that's going to happen, there's a tremendous amount of data that's going to flow to Amazon, Google, Apple, Microsoft, and Facebook. So their values are going to go up. Now, as I did in another video, I explained to you about some of this computing power that happens right now in Amazon Web Services, let's say, is going to happen actually right here and now, that we have chips that will fit on the end of your finger that have the ability to use artificial intelligence and have the ability to use machine learning to actually help you make decisions right in your bathroom, in your car. So that all is changing. And so when I tell you that Excellion is undervalued at, what is it? I think it's $200 a share. That's because nobody else has figured out what the future value in that chip is and how it's going to be used. Now, you're probably saying, well, Kerry, I think you're underestimating the ability of the analysts who analyze these stocks. No, I'm not, because I used to be one of them. And all you looked at was past numbers and future earnings. And where did you get the future earnings? You got it from the projections of the CFO as to what he saw happening in the next 6 months or the next year. He isn't going to tell you that advanced Microsystems, that isn't it, is going to buy Excellion and cut the cost of their doing business and step into this new field of 5G that is going to revolutionize the world. They don't know that. So my purpose is, because I guess it's because I've had 76 years of past experience, I can look at things and say, where is this going? And what is the future going to look like? And where do I want to invest to take advantage of it? And so that's why That's where my channel is going. I'm not going to talk to you about a penny stock, and I'm not going to bet on Workhorse, and not even going to bet on Lemonade and some of those that I just don't think are going to be the big players, the ones. And again, understand, my number one criteria is it's got to change the way I'm going to live. And the post office getting electric vehicles is not going to change the way I live. And Lemonade selling life insurance through a bot is not going to change the way I live. That's a temporary thing. Your life insurance is going to be bought by your avatar, who knows everything about you and everything about everybody else, and going to look at your genome and know what your life expectancy is, and understand what's available through CRISPR to alter your genome, or what's available from some pharmaceutical to put your genome back in place. So I'm not going to play this in the small. I'm not going to play in the little league. I'm just not going to do it. We are at a turning point in our world that you can't imagine. The things that are going to happen, first of all, in the next year, because of the meeting where they say this can never happen again. Then, as 5G takes us to the Internet of Things. We have fallen behind on that because of the pandemic. We are way behind China. We'll learn from them. I hope, a lot of you think that I'm crazy on this, that there's going to become some peace in this world, and we're all going to try to get along better. And maybe that's just some wishful thinking on an old man's part, but give me that latitude. So that's my take on this, and that's what I'm going to continue to bring to you. Be sure to watch Tuesday's video. It'll give you a look at the community I'm in. The other thing I wanted to share with you while I'm here, I've recognized 3 doors down, almost a duplicate of this house, is in foreclosure. It's been actually in foreclosure for 2 years, and the bank just put it on the market just yesterday, and there has been a steady flow of people, including me, going through the house and looking at it. I'm not ready to buy it yet. I honestly think that the prices are going to get better. These are homes that, most of these homes start at $1 million and more, and they're probably, if I had to guess, 8,000 of them down here, and that might be small. It made something. I want to change that. I would say there's close to 20,000 homes down here. Not all of them are $1 million, but 80% of them are second homes. Now, what you and I know is a lot of people are out of work. I've looked at the tax records down here, and there's a lot of people that didn't pay their taxes last October. There's a lot of people, I don't know, but I am sure, are falling behind, arrears in their payments. So there's going to be a lot of foreclosures, and I'm working with some other people about identifying those properties and reaching out to these homeowners who actually are going to have to let their house go and get whatever equity they can out of it. I met with a lady down at this foreclosure down there, and I said, do you live here? She said, I live here 4 months of the year. And again, we're on the Gulf Coast, and she says, we're here for the Thanksgiving holiday, and then we come back for the Christmas holiday, and then we come back February through March. And so that's when we live down here. And I said, so in other words, you avoid the season. The season is the summer, and then spring vacation. And she said, oh, yeah, we totally avoid that. And I said, well, then do you rent your house out for those other days? And her response to me was, oh, yes, sir. Every day that we aren't in the house, someone else is renting it. Well, folks, that's a good piece of rental property. And I'm going to put my efforts towards focusing on here, down here. I'm probably going to be looking for a real estate agent that I can work with. And then I'm going to speak to investors and I'm going to share with them what's happening down here. Because again, I started down here in 1987, so I know the market. And there's going to be a huge opportunity. Nita and I have already decided we will buy a house here, probably in February, and as the foreclosures and the forbearance comes off, and it'll be something of importance that we'll leave to our children and our grandchildren. And that's part of my goal. If you're again, I've become very specific about this. I want to help you make good investment decisions. I want you to learn the tax code so you keep more of what you make. And I want you to pass on wealth to your family. And our goal is currently $24 million. $24 million in your estate when you die that you pass on to your heirs. Why 24 million? Because currently that's the most a couple can leave estate tax-free to their heirs. Now, as we move on and that goes up, our goal goes up. Our goal is to leave as much as we can. So that's my live stream that I couldn't live stream, but I kind of think this will work. And again, I want to say thank you to the members of my channel for supporting my Warriors Teach Team Shea cause. I still am committed to be instrumental in helping find a cure for cancer. I think it will happen through genome research and genome sequencing. I want to be a part of that. I want to leave this earth thinking, believing that I made a difference and I left something behind. And that should be your goal as well. And that's part of my goal to help you achieve your goal of making a difference. All right. Stay with me. These next 2 weeks are going to be fun. You're going to see some beautiful sunsets, some wonderful landscape, and you're going to learn about the Emerald Coast of Florida. Thanks.